4 months ago, Apple made a monumental announcement explaining that with a free firmware update, their AirPods Pro 2s could be their AirPods Pro 2s could be transformed into a set of over-the-counter hearing aids. Now, at the time, I immediately took to my recording studio and recorded a few how-to guides on how you could take advantage of this update. Yet one thing was clear in the comments, but the rest of this world was pretty annoyed that this was only initially available in the US. Not long after, the hearing test and hearing aid features then began slowly rolling out to the rest of the world. And as of today, this is the list of countries that have access to those features. But if you look closely, the UK still isn't there. Well, this is all about to change. And today I'll run through what other technology you'll be seeing very soon in the near future, plus the pros and more importantly, the cons of over-the-counter hearing aids. Apple's AirPods Pro 2 OTC hearing aids are just about to hit the shelves here in the UK. And I know that a few of you are wondering why they're not here already. Well, the concept of over-the-counter hearing aids is in fact pretty new, and it doesn't actually exist here just yet. From your point of view, it means that rather than having to go to see an audiologist and having a hearing aid prescribed, which is in fact a global concept, in the US it's now possible to buy hearing aids over the counter and fit them yourselves using nothing other than a smartphone. This idea was born in the US in 2017 when President Trump signed an executive order instructing the FDA to explore this new tech category, aimed at improving access to hearing aids and lowering their cost. And then, in October 2022, the FDA finalized rules that made OTC hearing aids available to all adults with a mild to moderate hearing loss. This was a massive deal across the pond, because quite differently to here in the UK, if you had a hearing loss but couldn't afford to buy hearing aids, then it was tough luck, which screams the need for change. Whereas this makes you realize how wonderful the NHS is over here, because in the UK, if you suspect that you have a hearing loss, you can visit your GP, who will refer you to an audiologist for a hearing aid assessment, and then you'll be fitted with a set of free hearing aids. Now, whilst this sounds great in theory, there are also an estimated 8 million people in the UK living with hearing loss, of which 6.7 million of you could benefit from wearing a hearing aid, yet of that 6.7 million, only 2 million actually wear hearing aids. So even though this free option exists, there are still millions of people walking around that could benefit from hearing aids, but for one reason or another, choose not to use them. And with an aging population, these numbers are only going to grow. And why the gap? Well, again, it could be down to cost, it could be down to the stigma associated with wearing hearing aids, or even accessibility. And this is where, in my opinion, OTC hearing aids, such as Apple's AirPods Pro 2s, could make a significant difference. So clearly, something has to change here in the UK too. As a result of this new tech category, we saw some huge names enter the market, such as Bose, Sennheiser, Sony, Jabra, Hewlett-Packard, etc., to name just a few. Yet, in my opinion, the uptake of over-the-counter hearing aids wasn't anywhere near as big as it could have been. Well, that was all until two tech Goliaths joined the game too. Firstly, EssilorLuxottica, who are the biggest manufacturer of glasses in the world, and they've developed these nuanced audio OTC hearing aid glasses. And Apple with their AirPods Pro 2 OTC hearing aid update. And in my opinion, the size and strength of these guys is what I think will start to shape the world of audiology in a different way forever. And it's exactly why I am excited about these guys, because they have the marketing power to get the conversation started about hearing aids and hearing loss, and they are the guys that are going to raise awareness. So much so that you're sat here today watching this video, thinking about managing your hearing loss, maybe for the first time ever. So at the moment, in the UK, AirPods Pro 2 headphones are built with hearing test features, but without the features to correct your hearing loss. However, only last week, ministers announced changes following the guidance from the Department of Health and Social Care, which resulted in this policy statement looking into the introduction of OTC hearing aids in the UK, in line with the US's changes in legislation. In simple terms, as soon as this goes live, which I think will be in the next few weeks, you'll be able to test your hearing at home using a set of AirPods Pro 2 OTC hearing aids, and if a mild to moderate hearing loss is identified, then you'll be able to enable their hearing aid mode, and the hearing aids will compensate for your hearing loss. But the great thing is, this won't be limited to Apple. Those big names that I was talking to you about earlier, they will be lining up in the UK with their new over-the-counter hearing aid technology too. I can guarantee it. If you've been on my channel before, then you'll know that I always offer a balanced opinion, and I think that there are several pros and cons to over-the-counter hearing aids now. Beginning with the pros, firstly, and one of the most exciting things in my opinion, will this be the end of waiting lists in the NHS? And what I mean by that is, if those of you out there with a hearing loss are going to start to take matters into your own hands, granted, it will be at a cost, but does this mean it would take the pressure off our public services? Secondly, I think that OTC hearing aids will provide easier access to hearing technology, and we'll see more people taking care of their ears and beginning to manage their hearing loss, which delights me no end. Thirdly, as happens with all fields of technology, OTC hearing aids will drive developments due to a greater amount of competition and, of course, bigger budgets too, which means more new, awesome technology from companies other than the big six traditional hearing aid manufacturers to help my patients with. And then finally, and again, this is a big one, I personally feel that OTC hearing aids will lead to the demise of poor quality hearing care providers and an overall increase in the quality of hearing care services across the whole of the UK. I'm hoping that happens anyway. As far as the cons go, the fact that this is already live in the US means we can take learnings from what's been happening over there for the last 2 years. And to start with, it's worth noting that OTC hearing aids have an astronomical return rate. Why? Well, where's the support? Audiologists, such as me, haven't been pretending to perform a job for the last 50 years of fitting prescription hearing aids. There is, and I can tell you from experience, a value in us being involved in the process. Second of all, Apple AirPods Pro 2s are sub £200, but the price of an OTC hearing aid can span all the way up to £3,500, whereas a properly fitted free hearing aid from the NHS will, in my opinion, give you far better outcomes. Thirdly, it does concern me that OTC devices could put you at risk of improperly treating your hearing loss. And without a proper assessment from a hearing care professional, could that potentially miss a more serious health issue? All I think that it would take is for this to happen once, and who knows, it could itself be the end of OTC hearing aids altogether. Fourthly, there is no guarantee that your OTC hearing aids will be programmed correctly. How would you know if you have the best settings for you? What concerns me is that I wouldn't want you to try them out, think that no tech is going to help you, and then not bother to wear any hearing aid technology at all. So I'm incredibly keen on knowing what you, yes, you, watching this video today, would prefer to wear, an OTC hearing aid or a traditional hearing aid. Let me know in the comments beneath this video, along with the reasons why. And before you rush off and buy yourself a set of AirPods Pro 2s, you have to check out this video demonstrating how easy it is to set them up as hearing aids.